is Charlene with CrowSong Lodge, and I'm back again with another video. Today I want to talk about certifications in the New Age community. This discussion has come up again in one of the message groups that I'm in, and it used to be a rant that I went on fairly often, but I haven't had to quite as often, thank you to Doreen Virtue. But it has been on my list for a really long time, and so no time like the present, right? So, certifications. A lot of times we're told that we need some kind of certification or academy qualification or some kind of schooling to make our knowledge or practice or experience valid in some way. Like, how can you be taken as seriously as a tarot reader if you aren't a master certified tarot reader? And you see that a lot on the hotlines. Certified master tarot reader. Like, what even does that mean, right? Well, let's talk about it. What does certified master tarot reader mean? For one, who is certifying these people? Like, a certificate has to be issued by somebody, and a certificate is only as good as the reputation of the person who issued it. I can issue you a certificate. I can print it out on my I don't even have to print it out on my printer anymore. This is 2019. I can make it up in Photoshop and wing it on over to you via email, and then you would be certified. That is how certification works. Literally, that is how certification works. And that is how a lot of the business schools and tarot schools and all that is how they do it. And that is literally what certified means. So if I, your friend Charlene, were to print out a certificate, or I'm sorry, if I made one up in Canva and sent it over to you by email, you could then put on your profile, Certified Master Tarot Reader. That's as simple as it works. So a lot of times when you're seeing this on people's profiles or their bios or whatever, what they've done is they've gone to some school and they've signed up for a course, they've paid a fee, and they got their certificate. A lot of these courses don't even have tests. You get your material, like a book or a workbook or a video series, and a certificate included. Like, they don't even make sure you watch that material or read the material or do the workbooks or anything like that. Now, that's most of them, but not all of them. Some of them do require that you participate in forums and that you pass a test or demonstrate some kind of knowledge, and that is better. But it's only, again, as good as those testing materials are. There, when you go to university, when you go to a college, and this is internationally, some colleges and universities have what is called accreditation. And that means that there is an additional body out there that has been designated by certain experts and that has a reputation of its own that goes around to these colleges and universities, and they test their course material. They test their testing methods on the course materials to make sure they're fair and balanced and objective. In order to make sure that the material is good and accurate and up to date, their testing methods are fair. So the tests actually do test the students to make sure they've learned the material and then are graded fairly so that it's not weighted towards some students passing just because, I don't know, they're white and privileged, and then biased against other students not passing because, I don't know, they are not white and not privileged. And if that university passes all these metrics for standards, these standard metrics, then they become accredited. And that means that accrediting body is putting their reputation behind saying that this university's materials are good, up to date, and their testing methods are fair, and their staff has a good reputation. And so then we can take those universities and say, okay, these are good universities. Those universities' degrees or certificates are good reputation. So when you go and you have one of these degrees and you apply to an employer, that employer will look and they'll be like, okay, you have a degree. Where is that degree from? Is that a reputable university? And we consider the university reputable if it has an accreditation from a reputable accrediting body. That is how that works when it comes to colleges. We don't have an accrediting body in the New Age or witchy world. People just pass out certificates. And they do that. They do that in the university world too. That's why art schools have such a terrible reputation, because so few of them are accredited by reputable accrediting companies, if they're accredited at all. So that means their degrees are just based on like whatever they feel like doing. So that's why art schools have a terrible, terrible reputation. Currently in the news, people, or recently, people have been talking about Trump University. Trump University had no accreditation. There was no oversight, and they were just doing whatever they want. It was literally buy a degree, and you would have a degree in the box. And then these people who were doing it thought they were getting a valuable degree, but then when they showed up for jobs, people were like, sorry, that school has no reputation. We know they're garbage. We can't give you a job. This is a worthless degree. So when you're looking for certifications in the New Age community, this is the issue that you're looking at. What reputation do these certificates have? Who's making sure this is a good course? Who's going to put their reputation behind this certificate? And when you carry that certificate around, you're banking your reputation on the course creator's reputation and whoever's vouching for the course creator's reputation as well. So again, thank you to Doreen Virtue. We have a perfect recent example of how this can go terribly and tragically wrong. Her courses were so expensive. They didn't have a great reputation in the wider community to begin with because Doreen Virtue was considered fairly fluffy. But in her own circles, they were highly prized and they were very, very expensive. And there were people who were out there seeking Doreen angelology certified people. And when Doreen turned her back on her community and said, oh, I'm sorry, angels, no, those were demons. Everything I was doing was wrong and everything I was teaching was evil. Her certificates not only became worthless, but became damning instead. So instead of going from having a high reputation because you were certified by Doreen, you went to having a negative reputation because you were a fool and you were taught bullshit, or worse, you were a menace because you were corrupting people's souls. So that is what happens with certificates, especially when they're not backed up by someone who is really, really reputable. If someone had looked, if we had an accrediting body, which I do not want, by the way, I am completely against the New Age community and the witchy community having an accrediting body going around and policing what we teach. That is not what I want. But I do want people to realize that they need to approach classes and courses and certifications knowing how little regulation there is and learning how to tell what is a good course to take and what is not a good course to take. I am absolutely all for classes. I love classes. I love learning. I love books. I love education. I love experience. I think they're all wonderful things, and I think you should get out there and explore. But when you're looking for what classes to take, the certificate should not be the selling point. In fact, it should be the lowest item on your list of priorities. You should be looking at the teacher's reputation. You should be looking at the reputation of students who took their course. Are those students where you want to be, and do they have the kind of reputation you want to have in the community? Are they doing the kind of works you want to be doing in the future? Are they making the kind of impact you want to make in the future? These are the ways that you want to start using to discern what courses you want to take. They're the same decisions, the same criteria that you use when you're looking at, do I want to buy this book? Is this information I want to have and integrate into my life? Is it going to be valuable to me in some way? Like, entertainment is perfectly valuable, and it's a great reason to buy a book, and it's a great reason to take a course. But you don't want to, like, I'm going to build my career on this person's reputation. That is never what you want to do. And I, again, like I said, I don't want anyone policing our community. I'm completely against that. I don't want someone who disagrees with what I say, with my spiritual beliefs, to somehow have some kind of authority over me and say that what I'm doing is wrong. And I don't want anyone else to have that experience either. That person that disagrees with me, I don't want someone who agrees with me to go and tell them what they're doing is wrong, because I think that we have such a great diversity in the New Age and witchy community, and that diversity is really a beautiful thing. And I think that any kind of accreditation or governing body over us would push us more towards homogeny, and that we already have a problem with people judging other people and being like, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong. And I think the further we stay away from that, the better we're going to be as a community. And so having some kind of oversight or required certifications or accreditation in the community is only going to make that worse. But we definitely need to make sure that we're good about using our own personal judgment about whether or not something is good for us, and saying like, oh, this is certified is not the way to do it. Okay? Now, if you are in a community, we do have an issue in our community with territorial bitches. Okay? And that is a real issue, and it's a real thing that we struggle with. And yes, masculine folk or men can also be bitches here. This is a gender neutral term in this moment. Who will tell you that in order to teach how to be Wiccan, you need to have a certification, or that you have to be initiated. They tell you that in order to teach witchcraft, you have to be hereditary. Or they'll teach you that in order to teach tarot, you have to be certified. Or they'll tell you that in order to teach classes on anything, you have to be a licensed teacher. All those things are lies. All of them. I mean, there might be like a city ordinance here and there saying that you have to have a license to teach classes. But overall, complete bullshit. You can teach classes on Wicca without ever being initiated by a formal coven. There are solitary practitioners, and there are ways to do solitary initiations for yourself. There are a lot of them. And you don't need any, there are no licenses for witchcraft. There are no licenses for Wicca. And I know this, I have taught for my city adult classes on meditation, on belly dance. I have taught tarot classes out of my local shops just fine. I have checked my city and state ordinances. I know these things. There's no license requirements. There are some states in the US that require that you have a fortune teller's license to run a store front, like to have a physical location where people come and get readings and services and stuff out of. And mostly it's illegal to do spells out of those. So that is an issue, but for teaching, no, that is not a problem. You do not have to have a license to have a coven. You do not have to have a license to have a meditation group. You do not have to have a license to teach a class. That's all horse crap. You do have to have a license in some states to provide religious services, like baptisms or marriages and house blessings and those kinds of things. But especially if you're going to charge for them. But that, varies state to state and does not include teaching classes. You can go right now to your local community college and you can say, hey, I'm a person and I have this experience. I'd like to teach a class on meditation, or I'd like to teach a class on basic energy work. And depending on where you are and how open your community college is for that, they're probably going to say, yeah. They're going to say, that's weird. That's a thing we're not familiar with. We'll put it on the books and see if you get students. And I know this because this is what I do. This is how I start up classes in my local area when I move to a new place. So don't let anyone try to bully you into this whole license certification thing. Don't think that you have to have somebody else's reputation to vouch for you. Stand on your own. And if you have any questions or worries, look up your laws, okay? Do not take other people's word for it. Don't take my word for it. If you doubt what I'm saying, look it up at your local state or city website or country website. Just look it up just to ask. All this information is free. You don't need to pay for any of it, and you can find it on the internet. So, yeah, certifications are fucking bullshit. Don't fall into that trap, and anyone who tries to tell you otherwise can fuck right off. And yes, thank you to Doreen Virtue for proving my point and making this rant so much easier the last couple of years. This is Charlene at CrowSong Lodge, and I really hope this helps you. Bye.